For those who are new, I just think there's such value in how you start your week, right? Monday kind of sets the tone for the rest of the week. If you start Monday off with negativity, with pessimism, with frustration, with stress, with anxiety, that's going to fill up the rest of your week, right? With those things. And so if we can start Monday with hope and with optimism and with confidence and belief, then that can fill in the rest of our week. That can infect our attitude and our actions and our behaviors, the way we communicate. We know that everything starts with our mindset. So if we can get our Monday started off the right way with the way that we think, then we set ourselves up to have a better week overall. So that's why we do this Monday mindset, and it's short and quick, just to give you something to think about, something to encourage you, something to challenge you, to level up your mindset as you enter a new week. And this is not just about work. This is not just about leadership. This is about you as a person. This is about your life, about your family, about your work, about everything, right? How you operate, how you believe, how you think in every circle of influence. So what I've been thinking about lately, when we're about to step into the moment, right? So let's say it's Monday, right? And you're looking at your calendar and you have a big meeting, or you look at your calendar and you have a hard conversation that you have to have, or you've got a big sales pitch that you have to give, or maybe you're an athlete and you've got a game to play today, or a coach, you have a game to coach today. Oftentimes, those mornings and those days before those events, the what if questions start to set in, right? What if I fail? What if this presentation goes terribly? What if I bomb it? What if they don't buy my product? What if I completely mess up my sales pitch? What if I play a terrible game? What if I miss the shot? What if I drop the pass? What if I don't make the right play at the right time? What if I coach a terrible game? What if I make the wrong decision for our team? What if I fail? Right? The what if questions start to set in, and they almost always tend to go to the negative, right? Always assuming the worst. So those thoughts come in and they get really heavy, right? Those thoughts are burdensome to always be thinking about. What if this doesn't go my way? What if I'm not good enough? What if I don't have what it takes? What if I fail? What if I'm wrong? What if, right? What if? What if? What if? What if? And that can have two impacts on us. Number one, that can often prevent us from ever taking the step, right? Being so afraid of that failure, being so afraid of what if things don't go our way, if things go wrong, can prevent us from ever stepping into the moment. We just run away from the situation. And so then we never find out what we're actually capable of. But oftentimes we can't avoid the situation, right? You have to go to the sales meeting. You have to go play the game. You have to go to the team meeting. You have to go have that hard conversation. You can't get around it. But when we're so afraid of it going poorly, when we're so afraid of it not going well, of us messing it up, it prevents us from giving our best in that moment, right? That fear holds us back. And so we walk into that expecting the worst. Well, if you expect the worst, you're not going to give your best. And so we're almost guaranteeing a negative outcome because you can't give your best when you're constantly operating out of fear. So there's a simple but powerful trick to flip that. Still ask the what if questions, right? Those questions are going to come in. That's normal, right? What if it goes wrong? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I'm not ready? But then ask another what if question. This is the one that you get to choose, because you don't always get to choose the thoughts that come in, but you can choose the next thought, right? We've talked about it before. Own your second thought. So in that, what if I'm not good enough? Yeah, but what if I am good enough? What if I fail? Yeah, but what if I succeed? What if I miss the shot? But what if I make the shot? What if I bomb the presentation? It goes terribly. Yeah, but what if you nail the presentation and it goes incredibly well? What if they don't want to buy your product? What if they do want to buy your product? What if this hard conversation just completely goes off the rails and is terrible? Yeah, but what if it goes well and they're actually really receptive to what you have to say? What if I'm not a great leader? Yeah, but what if you are? What if I call the wrong plays? Yeah, but what if you call the right plays? What if I make the wrong decisions for my team? But what if you make the right decisions for your team? Well, then instead of operating out of the fear of failure, we're operating out of hope and optimism and belief. Because like, oh, what if it goes well? Well, I want to find out. What if it goes well? It's like, now I've got to show up and give my best. And again, we can't guarantee the outcome. But when you show up with your best, you give yourself the best possible chance to have the best possible outcome. All right. Does that make sense? When you show up with your best, You give yourself the best possible chance to have the best possible outcome because you're showing up with hope and with confidence and belief and with purpose. So instead of worrying about what happens if it goes wrong, you're like, yeah, but this could go right. And in order for it to go right, like I've got to bring confidence. I've got to bring my best energy, my best mindset, my best actions. So then when you step into that hard moment, that hard conversation, that sales pitch, that game, that team meeting, you're walking in with humble confidence saying, I'm hopeful that this is going to go my way. I believe that I do have what it takes. I believe that this is going to go well. I believe that I am good enough. I believe that I can make the right decision. I believe that I can make the best presentation. I believe that I can make the shot or catch the pass or call the play. I believe that it will work out because instead of wondering what if it goes wrong, we're wondering what if it goes right. And that changes everything. So instead of being held back by our fears and our doubts, we can be driven forward by our hope and our belief of what if it goes well. And it's a simple trick, right? But we can always pause because we don't have to let the negative thoughts win. But too often, like that's where it ends, right? The negative thought comes in and that drives our action. Negative thoughts, negative actions, negative outcomes, right? Thoughts drive actions, which drive outcomes. But if that negative thought comes in, we can always pause and say, wait a minute. Yeah, what if I fail? But I can choose what if I succeed? And that thought can then drive my action, which can drive better outcomes. We always get to choose a better way. We always get to choose a better thought. It's okay if it's not your first thought, right? We're human. We're going to have negative first thoughts. But we don't have to listen to that thought. We don't have to live that thought. So play the what if game, right? It's simple, but it's really powerful. Just add another what if to the negative, right? Take the what if a negative to the what if a positive. Turn the negative to a positive because what if is always possible. So today, it's a new day, it's a new week, it's a new opportunity. You're going to be faced with some challenging situations. You're going to be faced with some really unique opportunities. You might be faced with some obstacles, and that fear is going to come in. And that fear is going to try to hold you back by convincing you that failure is the only outcome. And none of us want to fail. And none of us want to worry about what other people are going to think about us if we fail. But what if you do have what it takes? What if you do succeed? What if you are who you actually believe that you are? What if you're the leader that you believe you are? What if you're the teammate that you believe you are? What if you actually can go in and execute and operate with confidence and with hope and purpose? What if you can succeed? What if you come out of this in a better place than you were when you started it? Don't you want to find out? So today, let's not be held back by our fears. Let's not be held back by our doubts. Let's be driven forward by our hope and by our belief of wondering, what if the good thing actually can happen? Tracy, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love this. I don't think we've ever talked about this, me and you, off camera or whatever, but I used to go to bed at night going, okay, if I was stressed about something, it was that negative. It was like, what's the worst that can happen? And I dig until I found the very worst. And I realized like, that's not going to happen. I mean, the chance is just the data alone. That's not going to happen. But a couple of years ago, I flipped it. And so now if I'm stressed about anything, I go to bed going, okay, let's just dream as big as possible. Like, what is the most fabulous outcome that could happen, which gets me all positive and energized about it. Now, probably I'm shooting way for the stars, right? But what generally happens, and I think I equate it a lot to speaking. You speak a lot more than me, but if I'm getting ready to speak in front of a group and it's nerve-wracking, right? What's the very best that could happen is that people are like, that was amazing. That was so valuable. Thank you so much, and I may not get a bunch of accolades, which is not the purpose, but just to know that people, felt connected in what I was saying. I'll get a few of those. Thank you so much. That was so helpful. Thank you. And then I'm like, okay, so yeah, you're right. Flipping it.
And if you walked in with the negative, like, oh gosh, what if this goes terribly? What if they don't want to listen to me? What if it's like, you're right. It's like, it's that, oh, I think it's Henry Ford. I'm probably making that up, but it's like, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. Right. It's like what you're focusing on. And your point, like, yeah, you may not have the best possible outcome. And this is super cliche phrase. So apologies to anyone listening, but the whole thing, like, shoot for the moon, you'll hit the stars. If you miss, you'll hit the stars, right? It's like, I know that's cliche, but to your point, like, you may not get a standing ovation, but you might make an impact.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I just had a coaching client a bit ago this morning, and I just encouraged this person because they were like, now what value do I bring this person? What value? I said, why don't you write it down? Have you ever written down what value you bring to people? And it's like, well, I mean, I know it's kind of in my head. It's like, why don't you write it down and put it on a card right here next to your computer and just remind yourself before you get on with a call or whatever it is, what value do I bring? Because each of us brings a different set of strengths or values. So remind yourself what I'm bringing to this conversation to set yourself up, realizing you have nothing to hide, nothing to prove, right?
Easy, well, and that whole piece of like, whether it's in sales, whether it's in anything, confidence matters, right? People buy from confident people listen to confident people, and it's not about faking it. But like, if you show up like overcome by that doubt and fear, like people feel that, they read that, they sense that, like, oh man. So if you have a team meeting or a presentation to your team or a sales pitch, and you're terrified of what happens if you don't close it, if it doesn't go well, like the people on the other side of that are going to feel that worry, that doubt. Like, man, she's not bought in. Like, she didn't even believe what she's saying. He's not ready for this. And then you do get the worst possible outcome, right? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, what if I fail? You will, because your actions are gonna feed into that. But if you go in expecting success, and that doesn't mean being delusional, right? It's like, you've prepared for it, but it's like, I prepared. So what if this does go well? Well, then you're going to walk in with confidence, and they're going to feel that, like, man, she knows what she's talking about. She's answered every question. She's like nailing every little thing. And you're like, yeah, because I'm expect, what they need, and that you have what they need. And so you walk in with that confidence. You walk in with that optimism. Again, not ego. It's not what we're talking about, but you walk in with hope and purpose and confidence. It's a game changer. I work a lot with athletes. An athlete afraid of making the shot, or afraid of missing the shot, is going to miss the shot. An athlete believing they're going to make the shot may not make it, but they're going to give themselves a better chance. Like the coach, they always want to give the ball to the person who wants the ball, right? If you're calling a play for someone, like, oh gosh, coach, I don't know if I can do it. What if I miss? Okay, who's going to make it? Who's ready for the shot? Put me in, coach. I'm ready. There's no guarantee, right? There's a good chance they miss the shot. That's okay. But that confidence is giving them a better chance.
That's right. All with the mantra of, if you all don't know this, giant, you see the giant logo right there with the little I. Kevin, explain what that means. What's that component?
Yeah, I mean, it's humility. It's like, it's not about me, right? It's like, I'm not the biggest person in this story. Nothing about it is based upon how do I phrase it? It's like, the big G is like, God is first, I'm second. It's like, I'm standing behind. There's a bigger power at play. It's not about me. It's not about my ego. It's not about how good I think I am. It's like, no, I'm just going to show up with humble confidence. And knowing that I've prepared, which is where the confidence comes from, right? It's like confidence without preparation is delusion. But when you've actually prepared for it, you should be confident, right? You should walk in like, man, I've studied for this final. I've prepared for this game. I've prepared for this meeting. Like, you should be confident with that, because you have done the work to get you to that moment. But you also have the humility saying, like, all I can do is show up and do what I can do. Like, I don't have to be the best. I have to be my best. I can always improve. I can always learn. So that humble confidence is they seem to go opposite from each other, but they're not. Like, that humble confidence is actually what the world needs, and what you need to actually be at your best.
Yeah. So it's a constant reminder here at Giant, just humility every time. So I love that. Yeah. Well, this is super helpful. I hope everyone has found a lot of value in this, and I hope it just changes the way you think this week. Start flipping that switch and start thinking in the positive instead of the negative. So once again, always helpful, lots of wisdom. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, guys. Have a great week.
All right. Bye-bye.